Touch of Gaming Podcast, episode 102. All right, everybody, and welcome to the Touch of Gaming Podcast, episode number 102. Recording on March 29th, 2012. Nice and late. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me and lounging, look at him, just lounge there in the dark. Now I can't see him at all. Jarrod Schultz. Jarrod, how's it going?
It is going fantastic. How are you doing, Lloyd?
I'm doing really good. We're unfortunately we had some technical difficulties today, which is kind of a big pain in the butt. So we tried to do a live stream and it did not work at all, which is very, very disappointing. But what are you gonna do?
I guess people have to listen later.
What I'm going to be doing is posting this video up to YouTube anyway. So if you want to see the video, you can check it out that way. Otherwise, you can just download the audio and do that. And Jarrod keeps turning his lights on and off. So he's like a ninja and then not a ninja. Ninja and then not a ninja.
It's totally depending on what's coming off my screen. It's nothing to do with me turning on and off lights.
That's hilarious. All right. Well, before we get into the show, just wanted to make mention that we're a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Find out other shows like this over at techpodcast.com. Announcements for this week. I'm sure you guys, if you've subscribed to the Touch of Gaming podcast feed, you saw the great the great interview that we did with the folks over at Rodeo Games. That was a lot of fun. Jarrod got up at 6 a.m. to do it, so you owe it to him to listen to that show and check it out, because he was a trooper, getting up so bright and early that I was scared for him.
Plus, it was a really good podcast. I mean, I thought those guys were great.
Yeah, they did really good. That was the first show they'd ever done. The first podcast they'd ever been on, apparently, and they did great. They had some funny stories. They had some really interesting info about the game and about their company, and we managed to kind of make fun of them a little bit too. Said a couple little jokes here and there. It turned out really good. I like them. Hopefully, they put out another game soon so we can get them back on the show. They did a really good job.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Well, do you have anything new with you that you want to talk about? Any new iPads on your desk that you're looking at with Retina displays or anything?
You know, I resisted the new iPad. It was very difficult. I was so tempted the week before to go sell mine, but I just decided that I couldn't do it right now. So I did not get a new iPad.
I am the same with you. I'm still working on my old iPad 2, but I do have an iPad 3 on order. I have one hopefully next week. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it comes in 32 gig LTE version. So we'll see. I have a 64 gig right now, and I'm usually floating it under 8 gigs free because I keep too much stuff on my iPad. So I'm really concerned that I'm going to have space issues, but we'll see what happens. I've never had an LTE version of the iPad either, or a 3G version. So we'll see how that goes as well.
Yeah, when is it due to hit your door?
It's actually being ordered through store, not the Apple store, but reseller. So they don't have an actual ETA yet because Apple won't give them ETAs on any of the shipments. They just ship out products randomly. So I'm hoping sometime next week it'll come in because it's been on order for about a week now.
Cool.
Hoping. I mainly want the LTE version so that I can run GPS mapping apps on a big screen, so I don't have to look at my phone when we're doing road trips and things like that. So I thought I'd splurge just to see how that all goes. Well, having a big ass GPS sitting next to me in the car would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be a huge GPS.
What's that?
That would be a huge GPS.
Yeah, Google Maps would look kind of comically huge.
Then you can turn on Google goggles and look at stuff wherever you're at. I
have TomTom, so I want to see how stupid TomTom looks like when it runs on the iPad. Probably looks really, really crazy. It's gonna be lame. All right, that's enough talking and joking. Why don't we get into what we've been playing? So, Jarrod, what's been keeping you busy over the last little while?
Well, we haven't talked for a while, so I've actually been playing an awful lot. Probably won't list everything that I've been playing here because it's just not worth it. So, first of all, I have been playing Rune Raiders. Rune Raiders I will be reviewing later, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here. But here's a spoiler. The game is fantastic. I mean, it is one of my favorite games that I have played in the last couple of months. Right up there with Hunters 2. So, I mean, when you're playing two games that you enjoy so much, you really can't complain. So both of them are being reviewed later, so I won't go into them. Then I've been playing Dragonville. And we haven't really ever talked about Dragonville on our show, but I have unfortunately been addicted to Dragonville. And I am somewhat ashamed to say that I have every single type of dragon in the game. And as of this weekend, I hit the level cap of 30.
Wow.
So there's not a lot more that I can do in the game until they decide to release more dragons.
So that's like it's a casual game like Farmville type thing, right?
It's very much
We Rule would probably be a better comparison.
Yeah, it's very much in that casual type. Basically, you build your little amusement park with dragons.
Nice.
And the dragons attract visitors, and those visitors then pay you money, and you can get different types of dragons that get different amounts of money. There's, the simple basic ones like the earth and the fire and the water dragon, but then you get up to like the rainbow, and then they just came out with the metal dragons. And of course, that took me like 3 days to get all of them. I know, it's kind of embarrassing. And then you can raise those dragons' levels so that they give you more money. And then you can get totems, and if you get so many dragons up to level 10, the totem will allow you to send them up to level 15, and then you get up to level 15, then the totem will allow you to push them further. And I mean, there's so much. It's really just a game. I log in dragons, I go check on the latest thing that I'm trying to breed, and I'm done with it in about 5 minutes. The unfortunate part is that at its worst, I was checking it like 4 or 5 times a day. So now that I've maxed out my level, I feel like there's not quite as much for me to play for. So I'll probably be playing a little bit less, like once a day. And so, yeah, I probably won't be playing quite as much. But if you do decide to check it out, add me. I am very good at giving away gems. I have a dragon's eye tree. Dragon's eye. I don't know how to say it, but it allows me to give away more gems to my friends, and the gems are the premium currency. And so I actually have not spent $1 on this game, which is kind of cool that I have like everything unlocked and never spent $1.
Nice.
So that's really cool, and I always give away gems. And the dragon's eye tree allows me to give away more. So if you want to play it, I'm more than happy to provide you with gems, once a day whenever I log on. And eventually they'll raise the level cap, and I'll probably be addicted again for a while. Okay, and then I've been playing Hero Academy. Mm-hmm. Still think the game is fantastic. I really enjoy it. I haven't been playing quite as quickly. I was playing, like multiple times a day and all that. And I actually just got at work now, they give us free Wi-Fi for any of our devices, so I can actually play at work. Nice, However, nice. I've been finding on Hero Academy, I kind of just like log in like once a day and play my turns, and I'm kind of running low on games. So if anyone wants to play Hero Academy, just start a new game with me. I'm happy to do it. My handle is Quacko, Quacko. For Game Center, so add me. I'm more than happy to play a game with Hero Academy.
Cool.
And then I've been playing Mage Gauntlet. Mage Gauntlet is kind of like it's a little bit of an action RPG but it's kind of like has a 16-bit graphics to it. Mm-hmm. It's by the same people that did Hook Champ. So remember that endless runner game?
Yeah. No, I've played Mage Gauntlet as well. It's actually really, really well done. I really dig it.
I think it's funny though, because they do the same thing with the hats. Like they have this huge fascination with hats, and they don't do anything for you, but for some reason you want to collect them all. And I think it's an alright game. So
yeah, hats are definitely something Rocket Cat Games likes to mess around with. I don't understand why, but that's their thing, so I'll let them have it.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been playing the most recently. What about you, Lloyd? What have you been playing?
Well, the thing that I've been playing the most, not because it's a super deep game by any stretch of the imagination, but I've been playing a game called Draw Something. You might have heard about it. It's been number 1 on the free and paid charts for like the last 3 weeks. I picked up the premium version just to check out what it was all about, because I didn't realize there was a free version, and then felt kind of pissed off that I had spent $1 when wasn't sure if I was going to like the game. But then I totally got right into it. If you're not familiar with the game, you probably are, but if you're not, it's basically Pictionary that you play over the internet with friends. So you get a selection of 3 clues, a level 1, a level 2, a level 3, or sorry, not clues, I guess they're words. And then what you have to do is take that word and draw something and send it to your friend, and they have to guess what the word is. And there's tiles like Scrabble tiles on the bottom. And you earn coins for every word that you guess right. You use those coins to buy other colors so you can make more impressive pieces of art, I guess, if you're at any way an artist. Most of the drawings that I get back are just like stick men made with font or lines that are about this big compared to a screen that's about that big, so you can barely see any definition what they're doing. But a lot of people just draw out some clever things, and you guess the word, and you get some coins, and you go about your day. I was actually telling Jarrod before. Actually, that's kind of funny. I just got to draw something pop-up notification as I'm talking here. So Robin, one of my Facebook friends that I'm playing with, just sent me a drawing. That's kind of good timing. But I was telling Jarrod before that my wife Karen and I will basically sit in bed and we'll do drawings like while we're watching TV or whatever, or we'll sit on the couch or wherever we happen to be watching TV or reading or something, and we'll just keep sending turns back and forth, which is kind of odd because we're right beside each other, yet we're playing a game. So I don't know what that's all about, but we've been enjoying it. I'm kind of getting burnt out on the game though. Like most games that you get pop-up notifications like 17 times a day, I find that it becomes more of a job than a fun game to play. So I've been taking longer and longer to do my turns. So I don't know how long for the world draw something is, but I've been enjoying it as it is right now. We'll see where it goes. Yeah, have you played it at all, Jarrod?
I've kind of been resisting it. I haven't really played it at all. I asked you this before, and I was interested to hear your answer. Why do you think this one has been so much more successful than, say, Charadium or all the other, incarnations of Pictionary on iOS?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's probably like every other iOS game that really made it big. You have Angry Birds, which hit huge. It wasn't the first physics puzzler. It wasn't the best physics puzzler. It wasn't the best looking, the best sounding, but it just had that certain something that made people get really excited about it. The thing that Draw Something differs from a lot, or I guess the big thing that makes it different than a lot of the other ones out there, is it ties directly into social networks. So you sign into your Facebook account from the app, and it basically shows all your Facebook friends that have played it. There's a Facebook version of it, I believe. I think there's an Android version and an iOS version, and I believe you can play cross-platform with everybody. So I think it just gives you a whole big, a lot larger pool to play from. And the fact that it's tied into Facebook, if people are on Facebook all the time, they might see this game that people are playing, join in and play it as well. So I think it's more the social aspect. I think it's also very polished. So it looks like a game that has been designed and planned out really, really well. And also the fact that people aren't just guessing random words. It's there's Scrabble tiles, so you see how long the word is, and you get a smaller list of letters, and you have to guess the word from those letters. So it's not like if you draw like a stick man with a knife and you send that to a friend and they have to guess that you drew Jason Voorhees. Like you would have the tiles down there that would say Jason, and then you would just punch in that word, and there you go. So I don't know. I think it just did a lot of little things right, and it just kind of went crazy using social networks to kind of propagate.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting that they have it so that, if I understand it right, you pay for another color.
Yeah, you get coins per for every match. So you get either 1, 2, or 3 coins, and when you save up, I think it's 249 coins, you can buy a color pack. So by default, I believe you only get black, blue, red, and that might be it. And then you have to buy color packs to add more colors so you can draw things better. Like you'll be drawing like a scene and you want to draw a tree, and it's like, oh, I don't have green. What am I going to do? So you do like blue for the leaves of the tree, or you just leave it blank. You just draw like a little cloud looking thing on top of a stick, and that's a tree. So you're constantly playing more because you want to get the coins. You want to choose tougher words so you get more coins, so that you can unlock the colors that you want, so you know that drawings in the future will be better. So I don't know, they've done a lot of things right, and yeah, they did a really good job. And we'll talk about a story later in the news. They did really well for themselves. So besides Draw Something, I've actually been playing 2 games that I don't think are available in the US right now. So I almost feel bad talking about them, but I'm going to talk about them anyway. I've been playing Simpsons Tapped Out. That one actually did launch in the States. It launched in Canada for about a week first to test the servers, and EA thought they were perfect. Everything was up to snuff, and then it launched in the US, and their servers basically melted down. So they pulled it from the store, and I don't believe they've put it back up on the store. I'm going to do a quick search while I'm talking. But basically, it's Farmville, or it's more like We Rule, rather, where you're collecting money to buy different buildings to put down, and then you basically you harvest those buildings for experience and money. When you level up through getting more experience, you can place bigger and better buildings to get more money to keep going. So it's kind of like a treadmill. It's really cool because it takes place in an alternate Springfield. So the nuclear plant blew up and created a million or an infinite number of copies of Springfield. But the Springfield only starts with just the Simpsons house and Homer. And I think Lisa is in there as well. So you have to keep placing buildings to unlock the other characters. So I'm level, I think, 16 now, and I just placed Moe's Tavern. And when I place Moe's Tavern, I get to do stuff with Moe and Marge, because Marge, for some reason, was in Moe's Tavern, which, if you know the cartoon, you know that Moe is like Marge's stalker. So it's kind of funny that they came together in the same building. And each person will have different things that they can do. Like you touch Homer and you can have him play with his MyPad. So he'll sit there for 45 seconds and play with his iPad. You can have him go to Moe's. You can have him go to work or hide out in the neighbor's house to skip work or lounge in the kiddie pool. And it has a lot of the sight gags that you would actually got from the cartoon. So really, really digging it. I only have about 4 or 5 more levels, I think, because I think I'm at 15 or 16. I can actually log in just to see. But I'm really digging it. The game has a really aggressive in-game currency system. They have donuts, and they're very, very stingy at giving out free donuts, and the packs to buy them are super expensive. So I don't think I'll be placing any of the super premium items. I was able to save up enough to get some of the characters, but I don't think I'll be able to place any of the items just because I'm never going to be able to save up that many coins or that many donuts. Hopefully they'll change that a little bit in future releases. They'll make it a little bit easier to at least get some of the stuff without having to pay. Like to unlock, I think it's a Duff's Brewery. I'm going to look at it right now. It's 190 donuts. And to buy 190 donuts, let me go to the store right now. I believe it's something like $25. Yeah, you have to buy a truckload of donuts, which is 300 donuts, and it's $19.99. So for $20 in real money, you can place the Duff Brewery and maybe one other item. A little bit crazy. Yeah, you can place Lard Lad Donuts and the Duff Brewery, and that will be your 300 donuts. And there you go. There's your $20 well spent. So a little bit crazy in that regard, but I'm really enjoying it. And like you in Dragon Vale, I'm trying to get everything. So I want to place all the buildings. So I'm just playing it a couple times a day. Most of the tasks take an hour, so I'm going in multiple times during the day, and then I do longer tasks like 8 hours overnight, which gives me a little bit more experience and money and continue. So really, really digging this, and hopefully EA gets their stuff together so they can actually release this to the rest of the world, because I think everybody that had a chance to play it would really like it. Which probably means, or probably the reason why their servers died as they did. There was a lot of people that really enjoyed it. So that's Simpsons Tapped Out. And the other game that I'm playing, which I'm also in love with and played way too much last night, is a game called Skylanders Cloud Patrol. And it was one that Jarrod actually tweeted me. We were talking about recording tonight. And he's like, hey, have you played Skylanders? I'm like, yes, I played Skylanders. You know that. I've talked about it obsessively. And he's like, no, Skylanders for iOS. I'm like, what is this magical game you're talking about? Immediately jumped onto the App Store and checked out. And sure enough, Activision released an official Skylanders app. It's actually developed by Vicarious Visions, which does a lot of portable games on like the DS. They did like the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater and stuff like that. So they're a known development studio. So I was quite excited to see that both of them were involved in creating playing this. And basically, if you don't know anything about Skylanders, it's a game for consoles. So it's on the PlayStation 3, it's on the Wii, it's on the Xbox 360, and it's also on the 3DS. And basically, you have this little portal thing, and you buy these figurines, and the figurines have a little chip inside them. So when you put them on the portal, that figure appears in the game. So you might have Slam Bam, which is this like four-armed Yeti character. You put it on the portal of power, and it comes into the game, and you could play him. The best thing is when you level up, all that experience gets pushed back to the character. So if I level up to level 8 and unlock a bunch of skills, if I take that character to my friend's house, it still has that skill. I'm not 12, so there's no way that I'm ever going to be doing that. But I have kids, and my kids are absolutely in love with Skylanders. There's a battle mode that they play. They just love it. So when I heard that it was coming to iOS, I was all for it. So downloaded it, and it obviously doesn't support the portal of power, and there's no way that you put the characters right on the screen. So what it does is it has an in-game currency. There's gems that you can use to unlock these characters. But even better, when you buy a Skylander figure, you get the figure, you get stickers and stuff, and you also get something like this. It's called a web code. And you can take that web code. It's like a 10-digit alphanumeric thing, and you can actually go into the game and say if you have a code for Boomer, which I have right here. I can go into my game and I can basically hit a button to buy it, but instead of buy it, I hit this little redeem button, and I can punch in that web code, and then it gets unlocked in my game. And it's the same for pretty much everything else that's in there. There's a bunch of I guess items that help you along as well, and you can unlock those if you already own the characters, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, you could just play the game and unlock them, or you could buy currency and unlock them. The game itself is, as I said, set up in the Skylanders world, so you play as one of the characters, and basically trolls have escaped from jail, and it's set up very much like Jetpack Joyride. So the game revolves around a mission system. So you have 3 tasks that you have to complete. When you complete those tasks, you get stars to unlock levels, or to level your character up rather, and then more of those missions get pushed in, more of those tasks gets pushed in. So it's very much like Jetpack Joyride. The game itself is nothing like Jetpack Joyride, so just the shell around it is very much Jetpack. The game itself is like just a shooting gallery. You're basically tapping to shoot these characters and avoiding the bombs that are floating around. It has a cool aspect where you can actually drag from one character to another, and you draw lines, and then you do combo shots. You can do up to a 6 shot combo if there's 6 things on the screen, and then you use those to unlock these little I guess medallions that appear on the screen. You touch them and you get a bunch of coins. And as you are killing things, you're accumulating coins as you go through. And so the game basically revolves around you completing missions to level up. When you level up, you get the gems in-game currency to then unlock your skills. And then you get coins, and you use those coins to upgrade your skills. So you're basically going back in, and you're leveling up, getting coins, powering up, going back, getting a higher score, leveling up, getting more coins, getting more currency, and it just becomes this like circular gameplay thing where you're basically going, unlocking, and stuff like that. So it seems like repetitive, but for some reason I really dig it. I think it's the world that it's in. Like if you've played Skylanders at all, it's kind of like this whimsical world with a little bit of darkness and danger and stuff thrown into it. So you're playing with characters that have a whole bunch of different elements. So you can have water, earth, fire, air, life. There's an undead element. I don't know how that's an element, but it is. So you have all these characters with skull heads and things like that. But it all just makes this really awesome world. And Skylanders Cloud Patrol is pretty awesome. I'm really, really digging it. I really hope that it comes out in other parts of the world really soon. It's kind of funny. I'm like #1 across all the leaderboards because I played it so much last night, and that makes me feel kind of sad and kind of embarrassed actually. So I hope other people play it so they get my name off of the #1 list, off the all the leaderboards. But the game itself is well done. For 99 cents, you're getting one hell of a game. I guess you guys can consider this a review. I would give it a 5 out of 5 if I was reviewing it right now. But since it's not out in the rest of the world, you won't be able to download it. I was actually going to review it later in the episode, so I don't know why I talked about it so much now, but I guess this is pretty much my review. It gets a 5 out of 5. The game is awesome. When it's available, go buy it. It's a lot of fun.
Couple of questions. Hey, do they actually perform differently from one character to another in the game?
No, not at all. The only reasons why the characters exist is some people have their favorite characters, and also every day the element switches. So there's a power element. So today it's water. So if I use a water character to play through the game, my coins get doubled. So whenever I beat a level, I get double the amount of coins. Tomorrow it'll be something else. So that's really the only reason why the different characters exist in the game. There's probably achievements for unlocking all the characters. I would assume right now there's achievements for getting one of every element, and also getting completing a mission with a character in each element. So it's really just there to kind of extend the gameplay. But you'll want to buy the skills before you'd buy the characters, because the skills actually give you bonuses when you're playing the game.
Are there different skills for each character, or is there nothing?
There's really no difference for each character. There's skills that you can unlock. So there's ghost swords, there's an elixir, there's a shield item, there's a treasure chest item. Those are all little they're little tiny toys that comes with the play sets if you buy the $20 play sets for the actual figurines. But in this game, they do different things. Like the ghost swords basically allows you to kill things with one hit and give you an X number to the bonus of your score. So when the ghost swords is first bought, I think you get a 25x bonus. When you level it up to level 5, it gets you all the way up to 150x bonus. So you kill a guy that would normally be like 50 points, but if you've leveled it up enough, you get like 3,000 for killing him, which basically gives you more coins at the end of the game.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't have kids yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't played Skylanders, but I've been interested in it, and I keep thinking about getting into it with my wife. I'm trying to figure out if that would be a game to play together. So
it's the multiplayer is actually really cool. You can play both cooperative at the same time to play through the full game, and you can also play like a battle mode where you're attacking each other and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. I actually enjoy playing the game myself, and the kids enjoy watching me play like the single player levels, and then they like playing co-op with me or playing battle mode together. They played like for an hour and a half tonight just playing battle mode with all my different figurines. One word of warning, I guess, if you're buying all the figurines in the game, things going to end up costing you like $300 and some odd dollars. Like it's stupid. There's 32 figurines rather, and they cost about $10 each. It's really stupid if you want to collect them all. It's going to be really expensive, but you can have fun with just eight figures. You have one of each element. You can get through the game without spending any more money, which is good. Which is pretty much what we did.
Yeah, and I've seen that a lot of people are like price gouging the figurines on Amazon, but this is probably not the place for it, considering it's iOS, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the figures actually give you something in the game, so I don't feel guilty talking about it. One interesting story, last week on Tuesday, we went to Toys R Us, and they had just got a shipment. They got, I think, 150 singles and a bunch of play sets. I picked up the 2 play sets I didn't have, which I was really happy. The kids were happy. Told a friend, he went there the next day to get some singles because he needed a couple different elements. They had like 8 figures left. So they sold through like 140 figures in one day because people realized that they had stock. Like this stuff sells unbelievable. It just blows me away. I wish I would have thought of this game because I would have been the millionaire now, not Activision.
Yeah, and I've heard that they have plans for like other games to use the characters in, and I think that'll be really cool if they actually come through on that.
Yeah, they have a sequel coming out this year called Giants, which apparently is going to use all the figures. So my hopes are up that this is going to be a franchise that's going to exist for a while, and hopefully there'll be other iOS games that live in the world. Like it's a huge world. It's Spyro the Dragon, which has been around for a long time, so they could take these figures and use them in a bunch of different iOS games, and I'm sure they'd make a lot of money that way as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they don't have like really in-app purchases in that version.
No, well, there's in-app purchases for the gems. So if you want to basically unlock everything without playing the game, you can buy bags of gems for $5, $10, $15 or whatever. But you don't have to do that.
Cool.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on. Let's get into the rest of the show. First, just let's talk about one release that I wanted to make mention of because I told you guys that I would, and that is Paper Monsters has finally gotten its iCade support. I have my iCade here right beside me because I was testing it out, and it actually plays really well. Unfortunately, I'm kind of over Paper Monsters right now because it's been out for so long. I really wish it would have shipped with iCade support right out of the starting gate, pretty much, but it didn't. It works. I beat a couple levels today, and I was like, "Yay, it's Paper Monsters! All right, what's next?" And kind of quit out of the app and did something else. So, just wanted to mention it because I promised you guys I would. So, Paper Monsters iCade support, update away, and play it on your iCade.
Yeah, first thing I did when I saw that was sent you a tweet asking if you'd played.
Yeah, it's sadly it's something that I've been looking so forward to, but it's kind of, as I said, run its course. I'm not super into it right now. All right, well, let's get into the news. Jarrod, why don't you take the first one?
Well, the first one is, as I was talking about earlier, Hero Academy. Robot Entertainment, the company that makes Hero Academy, has just said that it looks like next week, hopefully, the new team will be out. In addition, this one will be optimized for the iPad 3, so it'll have the Retina on the big screen. But the new team is the Tribe, and the Tribe kind of looks like goblins or something like that. I'm sure that we'll send a link so that you can look at them and decide if you are going to be getting them. I probably will if I get a few more people starting games with me, just to play around with them and have. Even though they're probably going to be another $1.99, they've got me hooked on this game, and I really like it. So
cool.
It looks like lots of cool animations, the same great type. So go check them out. Axe Thrower, Warrior, Witch, Shaman, and Chieftain make up the Tribe. So it should be good, and look for it soon.
Cool. Moving on, let's get into a couple kind of awesome news stories. First off, something that kind of made me sit there in disbelief and wonder why it happened, and that is the maker of Draw Something. They're a company called OMG Pop, and they've been around for a while. They actually have about 30 games on the App Store, actually, but none of those 30 games really did really well. Then all of a sudden they bring out a game called Draw Something, and 6 weeks later, Zynga has bought them. They announced that they bought them for $180 million. According to some of the people that work there, there was actually bonuses involved with it, so it was probably more like $220 or $210 million. And this is from a company that on one of their last interviews they did right before the sale was finalized said that before Draw Something hit the App Store, they were down to about $1,700 in the bank. They were worried that if a couple more weeks went by, they wouldn't be able to pay the rent, pay the light, and they would pretty much be a dead studio. Next thing you know, they released a game that's downloaded millions of times, and something crazy like 10 million players a day or some stupid number. I can't remember the exact number, but from reading earlier, I was just like blown away. And then Zynga comes and buys them for $200 million. So that's a success story right there. You're down to your last dollar, and next thing you know, you make the thing that saves the day, and that's exactly what they did. So congrats to OMG Pop, and sorry, you all have to work for Zynga now.
$180 million will pay the rent for a good long time.
Mm-hmm. Apparently they had some funding for the company, but it was only something like $17 million. So, I mean, that's 1,000% like return on investment for all those investors. I'm sure they didn't get $170 million each, but or $117 million each, sorry. But yeah, they probably got a little bit more than the initial investment that they put into the company when it sold. So congrats to them as well for backing a winner.
Yep. So the next one is also another story of a game that had incredible success, and I think it's your fault because you were the one that reviewed them so quickly on this show. And Angry Birds Space has now been downloaded 10 million times in its first 3 days.
That is crazy.
10 million times.
Yeah, and you think it's $1 on the iPhone, it's $3 on the iPad. On Android, it's free, but they also have a paid version, and then it's available on the PC and Mac. So I guess when you average it all out, I would say that they probably made more than $1 per download when you factor in all the different platforms and the free ones compared to the paid ones. So I'm sure they made over $10 million in those 3 days. So they're jumping for joys, and they're throwing birds at pigs all over the place in their offices, I'm sure. But that's a crazy amount. 10 million. It just shows how much people love it. And if you didn't hear my iOS Pulse, the game is definitely worth a download. It's taken what the franchise was and actually made it relevant and interesting again. And I really enjoyed my time playing it. So go check it out if you already haven't. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, good job reviewing it, because I mean, I guess people went out and bought it after they heard your review.
Yeah, it's all me. You can send the check over to my house, Rovio. I did it for you. 9 million of those people were that bought it was because they heard my review. Maybe they'll send me a free shirt or something.
There we go. All
right, moving on. A couple good game announcements that came out late last week and early this week. The first one kind of surprised me. I played a Phantasy Star Online way back in the day on the Dreamcast. Really awesome. It was kind of like an MMO before MMOs were really kind of like super popular. I mean, you had like Ultima Online and some other ones, but this was like an MMO that you could play on a console. You jump in it like an instance with your buddies, get in, kill some things. It was really a lot of fun. Well, they just announced that Phantasy Star Online 2 will be launching on the PC. It's going to be launching on the PS Vita, and it's also going to be launching on smartphones. So they want to revitalize this franchise, and they want to release it so everybody can play it. So it's going to be available on the PC as their flagship platform. It's going to be on the Vita as well. I've heard rumors of 3DS, but it's not in this press release, so maybe that won't be happening right away. So that will be kind of like the other flagship. And then they're also going to be releasing kind of a I guess what they're calling a sub-platform version, which is going to be across iOS and I believe Android down the road as well. It's going to have a simpler control, simpler interface, but the game essentially is going to be itself. So this will be coming out. On April 5th, they're going to have a character creation kit coming out, which you'll be able to download and create your character and get ready. But yeah, later this year, we're going to have Phantasy Star Online, and it'll be playable right from your iPad, and I personally cannot wait. This is pretty much one of the first console games that ever charged money to play as a subscription. So you had it happening on PCs with Ultima Online and EverQuest, but this one they wanted you to pay. I think it was like $4.95 a month or something way back in the day, and people were like, "What? Paying to play online on a game I bought for $60? You're crazy!" So I'm curious to see what their what their model is. They're saying that it's going to be free to play, but it's all going to be like in-app purchase inside. So I wonder how crazy the in-app purchase is going to be. Like, you took 3 steps, that's 5 tokens, pay up 99 cents to do it. Hopefully it's just hopefully the game itself and all the weapons and things will be attainable in game, but you might have to pay money to make yourself look cool. That's how some other free-to-play like Korean MMOs and stuff are making it, and I really hope Phantasy Star Online is like that as well. Any interest in Phantasy Star there, Jarrod?
Of course. I mean, it's an RPG, strategy games. I always am a sucker for them. And I played some of the other Phantasy Stars. I just never played online. I don't think I could ever afford it. So, when I was little. So
it was definitely a lot of fun. And I'm really glad to see that it's coming back on the iOS platform. Going to be fun. The next big announcement is another game I'm sure Jarrod will play. It's called Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. This was announced earlier this early this month, I think a couple weeks ago, that Baldur's Gate was going to be coming out, and it's going to be a new game or a remake. No one really knew, and finally they had this big teaser website up. Finally, when it was announced, they said they're going to be coming out with an enhanced edition. So Baldur's Gate was a huge RPG. It was like a squad-based RPG, so you're recruiting characters and going through a Dungeons and Dragons like environment. Really a lot of fun, but it came back like on like 486 and like the early Pentiums. Like, this is a game that came out a long time ago, and it was immense. It was a massive game that you could spend hours and hours playing it. So basically what they're doing, Beamdog and Overhaul Games is the people that are working on it. and I believe that the same company that worked on the Bard's Tale is actually working on the iOS port. They're going to be bringing it to iOS platform, and it's going to be less than $10. So it'll probably launch at $9.99. If it's like Bard's Tale, it'll probably launch at $6.99. So we'll see. And it's also going to support multiplayer as well, which is pretty cool. So Baldur's Gate is a super immense top-down 3/4 view RPG. You can basically level up different types of characters, warriors, mages, rangers, and bards, and basically go and take on the game. It was huge, and there was a lot of sequels and expansion packs. So I'm curious to see how that's all going to be handled. But yeah, we're going to get a really awesome RPG coming in the next couple months, and I am like personally super stoked, and I cannot wait for this one to hit. So Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, less than $10 on the iPad when it finally hits.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be playing that one as well.
You play RPGs? Come on now. You hate RPGs.
Hey, every one of your co-hosts has their thing, you know.
That's
Anthony
true.
plays his Trek games and his racing, and
That's
I play
true.
the RPG and strategy.
That's true. It works. It all works. Kara plays the casual stuff. So it all
And
works.
you play anything retro.
I
It
play
works.
I play anything and everything. I play a little of everything that hits the App Store. So there you go. All right, moving on. Let's get into the reviews. Do you wanna do a review together there, Jarrod? Want to talk about
Definitely.
a game that we've both been playing and loving?
Yeah, so Hunters 2 came out on the App Store last week. Lloyd and I were actually a little bit lucky, and we actually were playing this before it came out. We talked to the developers, and they agreed to do an interview with us, and you know, they were cool guys, plus the game is great. So basically, Hunters was a tactical RPG. It's turn-based, so you basically have your team of hunters that are mercenaries that are flying around the universe, and they are taking different contracts just to make money. It's kind of what mercenaries do, right? They're just in it to make money. And the first one was downloaded over 600,000 times, but it was free, and then they had a purchasing mechanism inside it to get the whole game. Well, this one, it came out at $4.99, and it's by Rodeo Games, the same people that we interviewed earlier this week. And the game takes everything that was good in the first one and makes it great, and then adds in some other things just to add on top. The graphics look even better than they did. Some of the particle effects of the different weapons are really great, because you start off and you can basically just use your basic weapons. And your basic weapons, there's a shotgun, which hits pretty hard at not very far distance. There's a rifle, and there's a hammer, which you can only hit the square next to you, but it hits really hard. And I think that's all that you start off with. But then you can also get, your guys can get flamers, they can get miniguns. I really like the miniguns. That's just kind of probably my favorite weapon in the game, and it was just added in this one. You can also get rocket launchers. You know, good rocket launcher never hurt anyone. Well, actually, it hurts a lot of people in this game. It goes long distance and blows up.
It hurts everyone, actually.
And then you can also get the sniper, which shoots really, really far and basically is a one-hit kill on anything that it hits.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the big things that they added in this game is they actually put a story behind it. They created a 8-mission campaign, and the first ones are a little bit teaching you how to do it, but not a lot. And maybe that's one of the things that is the slight weakness of this game, is the fact that it just kind of throws you into the deep end. Did you have that feeling?
Yeah, like you play the first couple missions, and it's like, okay, move over here, get your guys to this area, and it's like, oh no, you're getting attacked, and you kill the guys that are attacking you, these little alien beasts or whatever, and you're really in no like danger at all. You get there, and it's like, oh, I beat the first mission, that's great. You play the second mission, it's like, I did even better, this is awesome. Then you start the third mission, you walk around a corner and one of your guys dies. It's like, oh, okay, there's some danger here. Definitely, like you said, it definitely feels like they threw you off the deep end. but in talking to the developers, they didn't feel like they wanted to coddle anybody at all. So maybe that's the whole point. They wanted you to have maybe a false sense of security, and then they wanted you to get your ass handed to you. So you had to rethink the way that you had to play the game.
Well, it's funny because you and I were talking after we did the interview, and we kind of discussed a little bit of strategy. And I think that just talking, you and I, we figured out a couple of things, both of us, that we could be doing better in the game. You know, I had an idea for you, and you had an idea for me, and it helped a lot. And it was just amazing how much that this game is very much, it doesn't try to give you any of the strategies. It very much wants you to go and figure it out.
Totally. Down to like one of the base skills of one of the character classes, like you can block, which is basically you block or you defend a square. I didn't know you could do that because it shows up at the bottom of the screen. So I'm getting killed. Like I'm in this level that has a building, and there's a bunch of doors, and these enemies are like flying into all the different doors, and my guys are dying. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And then I found out just on a fluke that, oh, you can defend a square and you automatically attack everything that jumps on that square. So next thing you know, I'm killing all these enemies without any problem. I just have the big guy with the club, with the big like power axe, kind of stand in the door and guard the space in front of the door, and then like these 5 guys come and I just destroy them all. So it's like it would have been nice to know about that, but then at the same time, it felt pretty cool to be able to discover that for myself.
Yeah, it's so satisfying when you've been trying on a level and it's kind of hard, and maybe you go grind up a little bit and then you beat the level and you're just like, yes, I did it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely back to like kind of old school gaming where there wasn't like glowing help question marks every 5 steps telling you everything that you can do. There's definitely a lot of feeling out and kind of sensing it. And in some of the later single player missions, you're basically scared to move because you know that if you move too many squares, you're going to uncover a bunch of guys, and they're going to come in and they're going to like tear you a new one. So you're basically like taking like little baby steps and moving everybody together as one big like blob of characters, so that if someone does see you, they'll probably get to you but run out of action points by the time they get to you, so you can take care of them in the next round. And I haven't felt that kind of scared playing a game without like being a horror game. Like I was scared to do too many moves because I knew that I'd have to replay this level that I'd already spent like 45 minutes on.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really cool is they have the single player campaign, but they also have daily contracts. And the daily contracts, they refresh, most of them refresh every, I think, once a day, right?
Yeah.
And so you can go play them again even if you beat them once, but each one of the daily contracts has a different objective, and you can go level up your guys and get money that way, and then you can pour that money into getting new weapons.
Yep.
One of the cool things they did in this one is build your own weapons, so you can actually manufacture a weapon. It costs a little bit more than if you were to get the same weapon from the store. However, you can actually get the bonuses that you want as opposed to just accepting whatever you find, which I think is just fantastic.
Exactly. I didn't understand that when I first saw it. I'm like, what's this stupid? I have a weapon that costs like 40% less when I buy it from the store, but then I realized like I want to have this weapon that has like a higher 2-hit chance. Like I don't want to keep missing. I don't want to do crazy amount of damage, but I want to hit them every single time that I try to attack. So yeah, you go build your weapon and you get the exact weapon that you want, which is kind of cool. Also in the daily contracts, they have every day you get 3 sort of like jackpot kind of machines, one-armed bandit things where you get to play them and it unlocks something. There's random, so it'll unlock like a bonus or a weapon or something, and you could do that. So you can get free armor, free equipment, free coins, free everything, and you can do that 3 times a day. So it encourages you to come back and keep playing this game every single day.
Yeah, just know you do have to touch an advert to get those, but they're pretty unobtrusive, and in order to actually go, you have to seek them out. So I would recommend, doing it, but you don't actually have to buy anything or watch anything. You can click through and see whatever they want to show you, and then you can close it down and load the game back up and get that bonus credit. So.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about how the game's structured. So it's a turn-based strategy. So you have characters, and each character has a certain number of movement points, and those movement points action points. They can be for moving. They could also be for doing an action like shooting or healing yourself or something like that. Depending on the armor that you're wearing, your action points are either 5 or 3, and then you can get other bonuses by leveling up that will increase your action points even more. So if you level up your character in a certain way, you can have, I believe, up to 7 action points by default. And then there's also like the start of the mission, you can get more with some of the character classes. So you have to kind of like build a team of characters that plays to your strengths. So on my team that I currently have, I have a guy that has a flamethrower. I like to put him up at the point so he can do the most damage and kill things. I also have a guy with a big axe, so when things are coming, he basically hustles up to the front and takes the brunt of the damage and also does the most of the damage himself. And then there's a guy with a shotgun and a guy with a machine gun. You can have, depending on the mission you're playing, there could be 2 characters on the screen, or there could be 6 characters on the screen that you're controlling, plus whatever AI characters or computer-based NPCs that you have to rescue or save or escort or whatever you're doing. So you have to put a lot of thought into building up your team that basically can allow you to cover almost any situation. You want to have a guy that can heal with stim packs. You want to have a guy that can do a lot of damage and take a lot of damage, because when your character's dead, that's it. He doesn't come back until you finish that level. So if he dies at the start of the level, there's a good chance you're going to have a really hard time in beating that level. And that's pretty much it. So you're basically, depending on the level that you're in, you're either going from one point of the map to another. You're either killing everything that's on the map. You're escorting a guy. You're going somewhere to pick up an item. So it's varied. But it's all like pretty fun, and it's all something that you have to definitely take your time doing, or you will get rocked by the different creatures that are on the maps.
Yeah, and one other part of the strategy part that you didn't quite mention is that there are also, each character has access to 2 talent trees, and there are a total of 5 talent trees. So you almost have to figure out, based on which talent tree, which type of weapon they're going to be using, because they complement one another. So you might want to have, for me, I have my big hammer axe guy. I have him wearing the lightest armor so that he can just fly around the map and attack anything I need him to.
Yep.
And then he has scouting, and I think that, by pairing those, it really helps out. And it's something that just adds another element and another layer to the strategy, and I just think that that's great.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much like World of Warcraft that way, where like one hunter is very different from another hunter, because there's talent trees that you have to go down. Of course, you're only getting, 9 points that you can get over the life of that character, I believe. Is it 9?
Yeah, we figured it out. You can get 9 of the 34 upgrades, so you really have to pick carefully.
Yeah, you have to kind of have an idea for the character you want. The good thing is these characters aren't permanent, so you don't have to use them. And actually, when you unlock the hardcore mode, you actually will lose them, because if they die in the game, they're gone forever, which is kind of scary when you think about it. But what you can do is, in the store, the armory, or sorry, not the armory, the trade section, you can buy weapons, you can buy armor, but you can also recruit more hunters to join your team. You only start with 4, so when you hit a map that has 6 spots, it's in your own best interest to save up enough credits and unlock 2 more before you start that mission, because it's going to be hard with just the 4 characters. You're going to want to have as many as possible. So you can basically play around with a lot of stuff, and if you screw up, oh well, no big deal. You just have to grind up some other characters to continue what you're doing. I say no big deal, but it does take a long time to grind up your characters. So there is a bit of a penalty for making stupid decisions early on. Of course, you can also respec your characters as well. You spend like 50,000 credits, I think, and you can respec them and redistribute all the different points that you get. So you're not basically painting yourself into a corner. You're just painting yourself into an expensive corner that you can pay to get out of.
Yeah, and you can also pay for extra credit packs. So yeah, it's really a great game. I really liked it and had a lot of fun with it. Really excited. I like to see good turn-based strategy games come out. There's one, and so yeah, for me, it's one that I will probably have on my iPod for a very long time, and then occasionally pull it out and play a couple contracts and put it away, and go play something else. But I think it'll be on mine for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a dying genre. Like turn-based strategy really isn't kind of the popular game. I mean, way back in the day, you had games like XCOM and a lot of other ones that were coming out around the same time. And I can't see Jarrod again because you're in the dark there, which is making your video all chop up. There you go. So you had a lot of games around that time that were that were the turn-based strategy, and they kind of died off. And I'm really happy to see them come back. I mean, it by no stretch is it my favorite genre out there, and actually there's a lot of them that I've played that I just don't like. So I was skeptical when this came on, but I jumped in and immediately fell in love with it. I don't know what it is. Like I think the art style and the world that you're in. They were saying when we were talking to the developers before we started the interview, I think it was Ben said that some people are comparing it to like a Firefly type world where it's guys with guns flying in space, and it does have that kind of that vibe. There really isn't a big story. Like there's almost no story. Like the story mode doesn't really have much of a story to begin with, but it just feels cool. Like it feels like you're playing StarCraft or something, like something that the world has more to it than what you're actually in on. And I'm really looking forward to see what else they have to do with this genre or with this IP down the road.
Yeah, and one last thing, the levels do scale based on the level of hunters you're taking. I confirmed that with them. I kind of wasn't sure if it was based on what color the armor you were taking with you was or your level. And they did confirm it's all based on your level. So if you take in better armor, it will make the level harder. However, if you take in a higher level hunter, the level will be harder. So just something to note there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our review of Hunters 2. Unless you have anything else to add, Jarrod. If not, why don't you give us your score?
I'm a fan of the genre, so I am going to give it the full 5 out of 5. I mean, this game for me is one that I'll keep around for a long time. I could see myself playing it a long time, and really, really enjoyed it. The one caveat there would be, if you're not a fan of turn-based strategy games, this one's not going to turn you to like turn-based strategy games, I don't think. But it's definitely one that I really will enjoy, and so 5 out of 5 for me. So what about you?
I really dug the game. I don't know about the not turning you to like turn-based strategy though, because I don't really like it, and this kind of made me want to play this genre and play this game. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It doesn't explain enough to me for me to really feel comfortable playing and not feel that I'm screwing up in my characters or what else. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that thrown in. I know that is kind of against sort of what the developers wanted to get out of it, but that's really the reason why I'm knocking it down a few points. So or 1 point even. So 4 out of 5 is still a really decent score. And that's our review, our joint review of Hunters 2. It's $4.99 on the App Store with in-app purchase for extra credit packs if you're feeling lazy and don't want to grind away. And it's 5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5. So I don't know how I'm going to put it on the website. I haven't done 2 reviews for one game on the website. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do for that. All right, that's going to do it for that one.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think I'll use your score on the website. Well, since 4 and 5 kind of averages out to 9, and then it rounds back up to 5 out of 5, I guess.
Yeah, or 4.5 stars.
We don't do half stars, unfortunately, because of the way that my script works. more of my programming was lazy, and I don't have the ability to put half stars on my site. So maybe I'll have to change that. We can do 4.5 stars. All right, moving on, Jarrod, why don't you give us your second review, since I've already done my review of Skylanders Cloud Patrol up at the start of the episode.
Yeah, so my second review is Rune Raiders. So Rune Raiders is currently available for 99 cents on the App Store, and it's by a developer that I hadn't really heard of before called Retro64. They're kind of, it's kind of, from what I can see, it's their first release on the App Store. And here's the thing, I absolutely love this game as well. So basically the way that it starts out is you start off with a very small amount of cash. I think it's like $700, and you then have to, I know that's not really small, but you start out with $700. You have to go hire some heroes and then go through a level. And the way that these heroes, there's lots of funny heroes in the game. There's a ninja, and there's a tree, and a bear, and there's a waitress that throws forks. And so there's lots of funny characters in the game. And the tree is like super funny. Like he has different puns throughout the entire game. And so you start off, and each character is represented by a little tile. And obviously each character attacks in a different manner. So you either can push all your characters and tell them to advance, you can tell them to hold their ground, or you can move an individual tile around on your side of the field to attack the guys on the other half of the field. And the rounds, basically they're about 6 across from side to side, but then they're like 100 deep, but you can only see the first 8, and then you advance, and as you advance, more of the map comes into view. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of different bad guys that you fight. You fight like dragons and ogres, and little Medusa people, and each one of them attacks in a different way. So you kind of have to figure out the strategy of attacking the characters with how the patterns that your guys attack in. Like, for example, the bear can only attack the one square right in front of him. However, he hits super hard and like throws them against a wall. So there's lots of different attacks and it becomes very strategic as you move forward. And then each guy, when you beat them, they'll usually drop money, but sometimes they'll drop a level up, and you can level up your little heroes. Leveling them up just gives them an extra power. It doesn't make them cost any more at the start of the round. And then as you can level them up, and then sometimes you also get health potions, which sometimes they come at the perfect time because your guy's about dying, and sometimes you don't need them, like any game. But if you pass them, then they're gone forever. You can't like have an inventory of health potions. If one of your heroes dies in the battle, you can pay the cost again and hire them again. But you don't want to do that too many times, because the amount of money you have at the end of the level is how much money you then start the next level with. So it's a really cool mechanic that every once in a while, if you're not doing so well and you to hire better heroes, because like, for example, the tree or the bear are $1,000, whereas the little wizard is like 400. So there, if you want to hire better heroes, you might have to go play earlier levels and try to get better. There are 3 different levels. Like if you beat it, you can get like a gold, silver, or bronze on it. And that's primarily based on the number of times that your characters die. So if you want to get the best, then don't ever die, which is pretty tough to do on some of them.
If you want to win, don't suck, essentially is what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's a cool art style, and you want to continuously advance your guys. The one complaint that I had about this game, and this is a good complaint to have, is that it's too short. So there's only 15 levels, and then you're done. So I basically beat it in about 3 days of not playing it all the time, but playing it fairly regularly. The one good thing is, though, they've said that they're planning a new release that's going to add another hero. So currently there's, I think, 12, and you have to pick 6. So, or 6 is the most you can take with you on any mission. So they're going to add another hero. So who knows what that'll be, but it'll be fun. And then they're also adding another 5 missions to it. So it's cool to see that kind of support, especially in a game that's so new.
Right.
And it's just a great game. Then if you beat all the missions and you're kind of bored, you can take whatever money you have and you can go try the endless mode. And the endless mode is the exact same thing, except it doesn't end. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you go to see how far you can make it before all your characters die. You can, again, revive your characters. However, you have a limited amount of cash and you're not restoring your cash. If you do play the endless mode, though, you don't lose your cash forever, so it's not like you then have to go grind your cash. You can start with that much money. So if you go grind a really long time, then you can go a long time in endless mode. Just that's the way the game works. But I think it's great. For 99 cents, I've had more fun with this game than just about anyone. And again, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 5.
Wow.
For 99 cents, I've been a very happy gamer with these two games in the past week. So,
cool. iOS is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean 99 cents, if I think about it, I've probably played this game 5 or 10 hours, probably not quite that much, but it's been great. And late breaking news here, if you are look at this game and you're interested, we actually do have some promo codes for it. So watch our Twitter feeds for how we're going to be giving those away. It'll be soon, within the next day or two of this releasing. Mm-hmm. But we do have some Twitter or some promo codes that we would like to give away for this game if it looks interesting to you. So yeah, watch for it.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely be posting info on how to enter that whatever contest. I don't even know if we want to call it a contest, but the way to win a free copy of this game. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, you guys are going to want to play this game. You're going to want to leave reviews on the App Store for the developers because that's always a big thing when people are getting free promo codes. So awesome. Rune Raiders, 99 cents in the App Store, and stay tuned for more information about a little mini contest that we're going to hold for that one. Cool. All right. Well, that's going to about do it for this episode. Just past an hour, talking about a lot of games. It's good to actually do a full episode. It's been a while since we've had a time to chat, Jarrod. It was nice to chat with you over the last little while.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Definitely. All right, guys. Definitely let us know what you think. Head on over to vgpodcast.com and click contact us at the top of the page to send us an email. Email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505-VG-PODCAST. That's 505-847-6322. Definitely send in your questions and voicemails, and we'll hopefully play them in future episodes of the podcast. But yeah, that's going to about do it. I'm going to get my music ready. And thanks for joining me again, Jarrod.
It was my pleasure.
And we'll talk soon. And we'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be back on Monday with another iOS Pulse. Take care, guys. Oh, that didn't work. Fail.